Show right here, right now
on Talk Radio.
Well, if you just joined us, you'll know that young Mr. O'Sullivan and myself have decamped. We've taken our little show to the basement of the Royal Albert Hall in London, where in a few hours' time Hawkwind will be celebrating 50 years on the road. Kay Adams is still with us, and Chris Brock, manager of Hawkwind, is joining us for a brief while to talk about... I said at the very beginning of the show that Hawkwind has a reputation for doing benefit concerts that goes way, way, way back. More recently, a lot of animal charities. What are you raising awareness and funds for tonight?
Well, we're raising awareness of all the dogs that get stolen and go missing in the United Kingdom. There's around about 25 dogs a day go missing, and it's a terrible crime which is classed.
Because we're not just assuming they're going missing because they've run across a field and disappeared. They're being taken.
They're being taken. Well, we're sure they are. And it's a terrible crime because you don't get any closure. You don't get closure at all. You're always wondering what's happened. Has it been used for dog baiting? Has it been sold on? Is it in a puppy farm? You've got no idea. So it's like a terrible, terrible, heart-rending crime for the owners.
Well, joining us to tell us a bit more about it is someone who's been doing her level best over the years to put an end to this. It's Debbie Matthews, Bruce Forsyth's daughter and an animal lover extraordinaire. Welcome. Lovely to see you
Thank
again,
you.
by the way. I say again because we've talked about this a few times over the years. Let's talk about pets get scanned, first of all, because this is how I know you best. Vets get scanned. Why aren't vets scanning animals for chips? The first time we get a pet, you go straight down the vets, get it chipped for your security, the animal security. I just assumed that once you've had your pet chipped, if it was ever taken and found, the first thing they would do is look for the chip.
Well, that's what everybody thinks. And it's common sense, isn't it? That's why we microchip our pets. But at first registration, we're saying that we want them to scan and check the microchip registration. And all the dogs that they have on their books, they should be checking at yearly checkups, health checkups, to just check. This would also
to make sure it's there, make sure it's all okay.
The owner, make sure the chip is registered properly, because we have a lot of problems with unregistered chips that haven't got up-to-date contact details. So vets could actually play a huge role.
How many years have you been banging the drum for this now?
13 years.
13 years,
yes.
And the vets are still not legally compelled to check?
I'm going to keep going.
You've been running an online petition. That has been garnering a lot of support. Where are you now?
We've got a Ferns Law petition, which is nearly 50,000, which we're going to present to DEFRA because they're doing a consultation on the compulsory dog microchipping regulations in the new year. And there are so many issues that are wrong with the databases and the vets that we've got to get it right. It's just ridiculous how this just goes on. It drags on. More and more people know every single year because more and more dogs are being taken and stolen.
It's probably worth reminding ourselves that you've gone through this heartache yourself, and I see from following you on social media that there are some good news stories. You do reunite people as well, but tell us what happened to yours.
Well, it was in 2006, and I'd left my 2 Yorkies in my car, which of course today you would never do, but back then it wasn't an issue, and my car window was smashed and both dogs were taken. My first realisation of how little help I would get was when the police were contacted because my car had been broken into. When they found out it was dogs, they just said, as it's only dogs, we won't come out.
Oh, no.
And as a pet owner, you know.
Well, we were talking, who was it last week, to Mark Abrahams, the TV vet, about the fact that the law views property and animals. I mean, I think you'll get better results if you've had an iPod missing than a dog.
Well, our dogs are classified in law. They're pieces of property, so they're second-hand goods valued at under £500. So that's why that's
how the police view them.
So if they go to court, they get a £250 fine.
If you're cruel to animals, sometimes the charge is criminal damage.
Yes.
This bloke stabbed a horse 20 times.
Yes.
Criminal damage.
And we're trying to get pet theft classified in its own right, so that it has a separate identification in the Theft Act, like cars and bicycles.
Yes.
Good idea.
Which is fairly... Well, you would think that would be fairly simple,
but it's not.
No.
When you think that for many pet owners, that's their closest friend, It's they're confident.
Yeah.
It's their world.
It's the worst theft you could experience, isn't it?
It is, so absolutely. But try telling Deborah and the sentencing council that. It's absolutely...
How would it help if vets were scanning as the way you would want them to? How would it help?
If a vet scans and they find that the dog isn't registered to the person standing in front of them, they can then contact the database, the owner and the police.
You've got situations where a dog is chipped, someone else has claimed the dog runs away from that person, and then you've got two separate owners both claiming the dog is their own. And all for the want of someone scanning.
On a microchip, we're the keepers. It's where the dog resides. So it's actually, it doesn't help in the Theft Act because the person where the dog is living
is the owner, essentially. Is the keeper.
The keeper. It's where the dog lives. So that's wrong. I mean, there's like a catalogue.
There's nothing worse than bad law. There really is nothing worse. Now, there's another charity that you run simultaneously. That's the Stolen and Missing Pets Alliance.
That's the umbrella company, and we work with Doglost. And Doglost have put together all the listing of all the dogs from the different areas for Hawkwind, and that's...
Tell us about that, Chris.
About Doglost?
Yeah, and what you're doing with Hawkwind.
Oh, well, how it all started was we used to give out leaflets for stolen dogs, but people weren't taking them.
And these are concerts?
At concerts. Dogs called Zala and Zeus are quite a high-profile case. Yeah. And then we were doing this big festival in Scotland, and a dog called Nala went missing. And it was too late to actually get leaflets. And then we suddenly thought, we've got a 30-foot by 20-foot screen at every gig, and we've got thousands of people in front of it waiting. So we'll project all the details.
And that's what you're doing tonight.
And when that happened, and it worked really well, we thought we could do this all around the country. So each night we have dogs that are missing from each area, so we have different dogs every night.
Excellent,
and we put them on before the support van, but when the doors are open, then we put them on in between the vans when it's a captive audience, because no one wants to move.
Now, your love of dogs goes even further, doesn't it, Chris Brock? Because you've actually showed at Crufts.
I have, yes.
A couple of times. 3 times now?
I think showed about 5 times. We've won Best of Breed twice.
And tell us about the dogs you show, because they're very special, aren't they?
They're called Commodores. They're Hungarian pastoral guard dogs.
They're enormous. That's what the listeners need to know. They're like huge white dreaded horses. Huge creatures. And they're very rare, aren't they?
They are very rare. There's only about, I think 50 probably.
In this country?
In this country, yeah.
And so you have about 10%, is that right?
Something like that.
Can I ask you, because again, you care demonstrably about animal welfare, like Debbie Matthews. And then Crufts also still has that sort of shadow of animal welfare issues and concerns that follows it. How do you reconcile those two?
Well, before I actually went to Crufts, I had the same opinion.
You were opposed to it,
I was opposed to it. And when I went, I was surprised at, one, how many real dog lovers and how people took care of their dogs so well. And there's a lot of welfare charities there. They did, wasn't Fernslow, it was the
gene ones? Because I know they're doing a lot of gene. They're trying to build up a gene.
Lucy's Law, that's right. And it came across as there's lots of animal welfare things there. It's not all about... I think that part of trusts is becoming the old dinosaurs, and it's getting taken over a lot by people who care. So yeah, I like it. I go there and I like it. Don't really see any cruelty.
Do you get introduced as Hawkwind or not?
What, on the...
at Crufts?
At Crufts, no, well, the dog's called Hawk Brock.
That'll do it.
It's a giveaway.
Debbie Matthews, if people want to find out more about Missing Stolen Pets Alliance or Vets Get Scanning, where can they go?
We've got websites. We're on all the social media, so just stolenmissingpetsalliance.co.uk and vetsgetscanning.co.uk. Sign petitions. If ever you see a stolen dog on any social media, please share it. That could be the share that gets it home.
I've been, again, watching some of the reunifications that have been going on social media, and I'm in a fairly emotional state. I am in a bit of an emotional state and have been for a while, but every time I read one, I just sit there sobbing, but at least I'm sobbing tears of joy.
Yes.
Debbie Matthews, all power to you. I hope one day, I think 10 years we've been talking about this, let's hope it's not another 10 years before finally...
When I've done it, I come back.
Well, it's got to happen. It's got to happen.
It has got to.
Chris Brock, Debbie Matthews, thank you very much indeed. We're going to be talking...